Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a totally counterintuitive approach to wealth and skill building. Imagine finding massive financial success in one of the absolute most stressful industries on earth. Not by learning everything, but by intentionally putting on blinders and ignoring 99% of the information out there. Crazy, right? Well, that's exactly what one young futures trader did, and her story completely flips modern hustle culture right on its head.
Okay, let's dive into this. The number 3. It represents the exact number of times 27-year-old Octavia Grace dropped out of college. Yeah, 3 times. She tried a biology major because she loved animals, but couldn't stand chemistry. So she tried business, she even gave computer science a shot just for the money, but realized 1 semester later that she simply didn't have the academic mind for it. Now, you might look at this track record and see a total lack of direction, but actually, this exact path of false starts is what laid the groundwork for her to dominate one of the most notoriously unforgiving environments in the world.
And it certainly wasn't a path paved with early applause. Despite making way more money than all of her relatives combined, a lot of her family to this day still views her as a failure. It's a massive, quiet irony. The world of day trading has an astronomically high failure rate, and outsiders usually just assume it's a total scam. Yet, Octavia kept this laser-like focus, grinding away in total silence despite the doubts of everyone closest to her.
Part 1. The Dropout Turned Trader. Finding Focus in Futures.
So, how did a seemingly erratic, directionless early life actually lay the necessary foundation for her ultimate career? Well, her journey is anything but predictable. At just 14 years old, she was actually signed to a modeling agency, entirely by accident, simply because she was 5'10" and 90 pounds. After that came her 3 college dropouts and a brief, kind of unserious stint exploring the foreign exchange or Forex markets. But the real game changer? A fateful meeting with a friend named Camille at a matcha spot in Atlanta. That single conversation pushed Octavia out of Forex and fully locked her into the fast-paced world of futures trading, where you speculate on the future price of assets, setting the stage for the whole shebang.
Part 2. The Analysis Paralysis Trap. Why more information isn't better.
Getting into tradings is one thing. Actually surviving it is a completely different beast. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it perfectly illustrates the biggest pitfall that destroys modern traders, the grand illusion that infinite online education guarantees success. Today, we have unlimited, free information at our fingertips, but this abundance causes severe analysis paralysis. A beginner will try one strategy, and the absolute second they hit a perfectly normal 2-week losing streak, they panic. Because they lack long-term data, they jump on social media, see someone succeeding with trend lines or Fibonacci, and they start over from ground zero. Octavia, however, chose the simple path. She locked into exactly 1 mentor and 1 single strategy, actively avoiding all that extra noise.
This brings us to a massively powerful aphorism that she swears by. Quote, "If you have enough information in your head to make money, don't bother learning anything else." It sounds extreme, right? Especially in an era obsessed with endless upskilling. But Octavia literally knows nothing about other trading methods. She intentionally shields herself from learning anything outside of her specific edge. And by doing this, she entirely protects her mindset from the confusion and doubt that derails almost everyone else.
Part 3. Mastering a single strategy. The muscle of discipline.
So how do you actually maintain that kind of tunnel vision when there is so much free content pulling at your attention? Well, Octavia achieves her legendary focus by treating her trading career exactly like building a physical muscle in the gym. It's about repetition, consistency, and resisting the urge to cheat on your routine. Motivation is fantastic. It's a great little fire starter to get you going on day 1 of a new goal. But motivation absolutely fades. Unyielding, ironclad discipline is what actually sustains a career on the days when you are exhausted, when you don't feel like reviewing your trading journal, or when facing the markets just feels incredibly difficult. Here is how she practically applied that discipline in 3 distinct steps. First, she found 1 successful mentor. She found a trader named Tria on Twitter who generously taught her for free on Discord. Second, she rigorously ignored everything else. In fact, she admits to successfully gaslighting herself into believing that no other strategy besides her exact setup for supply and demand even existed on the planet. Third, she built the habit. Whenever someone tried to show her a new method, she would politely listen but completely refuse to internalize the information. And that discipline extended to her daily routine with a philosophy of one and done. While thousands of newer traders blow their accounts to pieces by frantically overtrading, Octavia actually battled the exact opposite problem early on: fearful hesitation and undertrading.
But she conquered this anxiety by developing an incredibly strict habit. Today, she almost never takes more than one single trade a day. Win or lose, she takes her shot and she completely walks away from the screens.
Part 4. The Psychology of Losing. Managing the Sting.
So the crucial point is, moving past all the flashy social media myths, we have to ask ourselves, why does losing still hurt? Octavia normalizes the acute pain of failure here. She freely admits that even after years of success, taking a loss still stings her emotionally every single time, and honestly, this completely dispels the toxic myth of the emotionless robot trader. We're human. You can never fully eradicate your emotions, and pretending you can is a recipe for disaster.
But while you can't eliminate emotions, you absolutely can manage them. Let's walk through her pragmatic approach to mental resilience. First, you must enter the market expecting to lose every single trade you take. It completely reframes your mindset. Second, accept that you will feel the pain. Third, when a loss happens, let the sting hit you, but force it to fade in 10 seconds rather than letting it ruin your day. And finally, you have to look at the yearly data, the big picture quarters and months, completely detaching your self-worth from a single red day on the calendar.
And this brilliantly illustrates how mastering a simple trading strategy is exactly like playing professional poker. It relies entirely on honing a skill over a long period of time, doing the math in your head, and employing a defined edge. It is the absolute opposite of the implosive casino gambler who walks in with no strategy, throws money down based on a gut feeling, and is just praying to get lucky. Over the long run, mathematical probability always outlasts luck.
Part 5. Redefining true success beyond the money. Beyond the technical charts and the daily grind, what is all this wealth actually for? $65,000. For years, despite making incredible money, Octavia happily drove a beat-up 2017 Toyota Corolla that was literally missing 2 hubcaps. She was perfectly content. But recently, she happily dropped $65,000 on a Toyota 4Runner for one incredibly specific and kinda hilarious reason. The back window rolls all the way down, providing way better airflow for her beloved Doberman, Dexter.
This shows us exactly how she views the purpose of wealth. She isn't highly materialistic. She uses her money as a tool to support her deepest passions. I mean, she's been paying her single mother's rent since she was 17 years old. She donates heavily to animal shelters, and she prioritizes buying experiences for herself and her pets over flashy material goods. Crucially, she also maintains multiple income streams, like teaching, so she never ever has to approach her trading desk from a place of financial desperation, which, as she notes, is the absolute fastest way to ruin your trading psychology.
Success isn't really success unless you're sharing it with others. This punchy takeaway is her ultimate defining rule. It ensures we understand that staring at charts all day just to buy a designer t-shirt will ultimately leave you feeling completely empty. True, lasting fulfillment only comes from expanding your success outward to the people, the causes, and yes, even the pets that you love.
Which leaves us with a final question for you. If you achieved total financial freedom tomorrow, what is your ultimate why? Before you start chasing unconventional success, before you try to master a complex strategy or build ironclad discipline, you have to figure out your own deep motivation. Because when the losses sting and the motivation fades, your why is literally the only thing that will keep you in the game. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.